Yo, what's up, y'all? And welcome back to yet another episode of the Weak Daze. I'm your host, Kenn, and today we are sitting down with a very talented individual. Kurt. Kurt, tell us what you do.
All right, so hey, my name is Kurt, Curtis, Tez, but pretty much I'm an artist that helps artists. So pretty much what that means is I'm a rapper, but I also help other rappers and people that work in like the music field expand on their dreams.
Okay, that's dope. That's
Mhm.
dope. So today, of course, we're sitting down for an interview, right? I got questions prepared. And so my first question to you is mm, what sparked your decision to take on, my bad. What sparked your decision to take on all of these roles as far as being a rapper, a blogger, artist manager, and an event coordinator? Why?
It all started from feeling the void of like things that like I felt as if I needed. So like I felt as if like I needed blog and press coverage. So what did I do? I invested my time into like blogging for other people's sites and like actually like scouting talent that way as well. With event coordinating, I wasn't really getting booked like that, so I decided to throw like my own show. And I want to say with artist management, I got into that because a homeboy of mine, he was locked up at the time, and he dropped a freestyle on Facebook. He like shot it off the cell phone while he was in there, and I was like, "Yo, if you got a phone in there, that means that we can make something." So I started talking to him, whatever, and I got on this app that could help him record his songs over the phone, and then we was able to build a project that way. Mind you, he's still behind bars, but we coordinated it to the point where like he'll record it and then I make sure like it's lined up on the beat correctly and then like get it shipped off for mixing. And then ever since then, like I wanted to help other artists build their careers up, and even with like me doing manager stuff, a lot of those people seek me more than I seek them. So it's never like, oh, I want to manage you. They like, nah, I need you to manage me, and I kind of like it like that because like it does show me that I have like a skill set that people value.
Yeah, no, that's dope because it's
Hmm.
basically like you don't chase, you just attract it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, really, how did you even learn all of these things? Are you self taught with learning them? Did you go to school to learn stuff?
So I didn't go to school to learn. However, ever since like I was a kid, like I wanted to like do music and like I was one of those like computer kids that would just like be on the computer like hours on end, like looking up stuff related to music or either just like researching stuff that just contribute to my creativity along the line. And when it comes to like me getting like a little bit more of a formal knowledge, around 2018 started getting like internships. So I got an internship with this company called the Campaign ATL. They were more focused on like marketing artists, and they also had a branch that did marketing for companies as well, but it was more so geared towards like underground independent artists. The next internship that I got like a month or two later was with a video director by the name of Terrius Michael. He does a lot of high budget videos nowadays, but back then he was doing like mid to like high level productions. Through that, I was a production assistant, so with that, I was helping out on set, but since it was like a real small and close knit team, I was able to contribute some ideas here and there, and got some of my treatments written as videos. And the next internship that I got, it was with a company in New York called Dinnerland, and they specialize in media production and event production as well. And I used to go up there like once a month from like January until like May or June because I just couldn't do it because it cost too much. But with them, they helped me really figure out like how like visuals are supposed to make people feel, and even outside of that, just how art and like media should be experienced in today's age since it's so focused around like social media and stuff like that.
Okay, that's dope. So, how did you find these internships? Did you just like go out and apply to them?
So with the internships, pretty much, just being a little nerd that I am, with the campaign ATL, funny enough, I had performed on their showcase, like a few months prior to me gaining that internship. However, one thing that I did like about their showcase, opposed to like other showcases that I performed at, is that they did have like real life industry people in the crowd, and they had like a radio personality as the host, and then at the end the winner was actually somebody that I felt as if was talented enough to be the winner of that contest. And even to this day, I'm still very close with that person because of how much I enjoy their music. With Terrius, I found out about his internship through a friend of mine named Rain. She was actually the first person that actually let me blog on their site as a guest writer in a sense, and we ended up starting building. But she sent me that as a recommendation, and I ended up meeting up with them, and we clicked, and we ended up working together for like a couple of years. And for Dinnerland, I got that internship because I was following them because of I want to say a podcast. I don't want to credit Texum first because it was another podcast that I'm blanking out on, but I just saw how well they did like the marketing and the visuals for their brand, and that was somewhere that like I really wanted to get more knowledge from. So I just sent them out an email and I landed it.
Okay, so did you have the skills already to do the things that basically you did for these internships, or did you learn along the way?
I feel like I definitely already had the skills for the most part, but I feel as if I had to get my edges like rounded. Like I do feel like I was just very rough talent, and I just needed to be molded. And those three entities were able to help me like mold my talents because I feel as if I've always had the skill set. However, I just need the proper platform in order to showcase them.
No, definitely right. So, did you have any formal education with learning these, or was this like really just self-taught trial and error?
Just trial and error, and pretty much just trial and error and just showing up for the most part. The most formal education that I probably had when it had in regards to music was probably it was actually a guitar center like recording class. My stepdad took me, and it was like 4 weeks, and it was every Saturday for like 1 to 2 hours. And that was probably like the most formal education I was able to get when it came to just like entertainment and art. And outside of that, like pretty much like the regular electives that you would have in class. Even then, like I credit like my music appreciation teacher, Dr. Haskins. He was the band director for my high school too, but he really opened up like my taste in music and just taught me that there's great music outside of black music as well that
Okay.
doesn't necessarily sound like black music, even though black music is like the starting point and the origin for all these other art forms. Just expand your palette, and I took that advice when it came to just music, film, photography, just all mediums of art. I tried to not be narrow minded when it comes to that.
Mm, that's dope. That's dope. Okay, so my next question to you would have to be, with all the hats that you do have
Mm-hmm.
and you do wear, how do you manage your time and be able to do all of these things together?
Um, Truth be told, I'm really bad at managing my time. Like, don't get me wrong, when it comes to like me actually doing stuff, when it comes to like career wise, yeah, I can go ahead and like knock everything out pretty quickly. I try not to give myself unrealistic deadlines. I know when I was younger, I was just in a rush just to put everything out, just do everything, no matter how it's presented, as long as the thought is out there, then I was satisfied. However, the older that I get, I look back and I was like, yo, if I would have actually just been a little bit more patient, I would have been able to execute that idea better. So like even nowadays, like I try to give myself a little bit of more wiggle room when it comes to like executing ideas or even just having deadlines. And I really just try to be like a timely person in those regards. Like even when it comes to like communicating with people about business, like I try my best to like respond to them as soon as I see it. If they have a payment that they need solidified, I communicate with them like a good enough deadline for me, and I don't want it to be they have to just wait so long for their payment or whatever, because I don't
Right.
really like for me to have to wait on my payment, so I try to give that same respect to others. So I do feel as if time is really an important aspect when it comes to what I do, because it is a lot of stuff, and like don't get me wrong, like it's a small percentage of stuff that like goes out the window just because slip up on my time. However, like that small percentage of stuff, it really represents like opportunities that could have really been great for me. However, it's just been mistakes on my end when it came to like respecting time.
What you mean by that? Like respecting time, respecting other people's time, or people's respecting your time?
I mean, just respecting other people's time and respecting my time too, because I feel as if like when you procrastinate, the person that you're disrespecting the most is yourself, because like you have the opportunity to get these things done. However, negligence is the reason why you came upon failure.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I
Mhm.
like that though.
Yeah.
So my next question to you would have to be, with all of these different career paths that you have encountered,
Mhm.
there must have been some type of challenges along the way. And so I would just like to know, what struggles have you faced with building this creative field, and how did you overcome those?
So to go back to the last question that you asked me, well, the last couple questions that you asked me, because I feel as if time was really huge challenge for me. I know as soon as I graduated, I attempted to go to school. However, during that time, I was planning my first concert, and I was doing that all by myself for the most part. Like, don't get me wrong, I had like an artist homeboy that was kind of pitching in. However, the responsibility ultimately fell on me, and I was also working two jobs at the time as well, and excuse me, I just wasn't really able to balance my time like that. And even now, I'm trying to go back to school now. Like I'm enrolled at Atlanta Metropolitan State College, but like
Okay, shout out to them.
yeah,
I got my associates from there.
okay. But yeah, my first semester going back to school, it was good, but like I'm in the second semester now, and like the workflow is kicking back up, and it's like it's difficult to try to juggle everything and still try to get my education like I need to. But even then, like that's another hindrance that I found. Like since I did do everything by like trial and error, I do have experience. However, I don't have that formal piece of paper that certifies my talents, and that was something that I came across when getting job interviews with um, companies for like marketing positions or like account manager positions. Yeah, I was able to get interviews. However, I wasn't really able to land the job because I didn't have those certifications.
Mm. So, do you feel like college is necessary or not?
I do feel like it's necessary. However, I do think that people need to be honest with themselves when attending college, because I've been telling myself like as I got back into like my school journey, if I would have went to school when I was like 18 years old, I probably wouldn't have graduated. And I say that with all honesty because like it'd be too much going on, and like especially if I would have been going to like Georgia State or like going to school in like AUC, I wouldn't have been in class like that. Like I would have probably went to a few of them, like the ones that piqued my interest, but like it's so many like resources and then like events that are attached to school that I would have probably been more so involved in, and the location of like the campuses, I would just would have been outside for the most part. I wouldn't have been in class.
I feel
like
that. No, I feel that because when I went to Atlanta Metro, I was not in class. I was in the game room playing spades. That is no joke. So, I definitely feel where you're coming from as far as that's concerned. What are you studying at Metro?
Funny enough, film and media. Mm-hmm.
I did not know they had a program for that there.
Yeah, they got a
That's dope.
film and entertainment program there, and it's pretty cool for the most part. I do want to try to transfer somewhere else just to get like a more in-depth study of film and entertainment. But besides that, it's a pretty cool school though.
Yeah, most definitely. It's small, but it's growing.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they trying like even when it comes to like the actual campus life aspect of it, I do see like they efforts to try to get people more engaged and like just interactive on the campus.
Okay. So, as a rapper, a model, a creative, and just an all-around creative,
Mm-hmm.
how do you stay creatively inspired when you're involved in so many different projects, and how do you manage all of these different roles? And how do they intertwine with each other?
So the way that I stay inspired when it comes to just being a creative is definitely just consuming as much art that I can that aligns with my taste palette for the most part. So rather it be like music, movies, going to like galleries or going to events to either hear the DJ that's performing or either hear an artist that's performing. It can be like a random artist or a singer, and sometimes I'll even try to be real specific when I go out, and like I'll try to go to DJ sets where I know DJs that do good playlists or whatever, or I'll try to like find like new DJs that I've been hearing about that I want to experience they set live. Same with like music artists. Like I can hear a name online for like years that's been working like around the city or whatever, but pay no attention until like I see like the person like performing in my face, and I'll be like, oh, all right, they dope. Let me really take a serious listen into their catalog. And to answer the second part of your question, the way that I feel like all my roles intertwine with each other. So for the most part, I do feel like the reason why a lot of people trust my opinion or judgment when it do come to creative efforts is because, like, as a rapper, in the way that I conduct my business, like, a lot of it falls on me, and like that means that like I'm responsible for everything when it comes to like my career. So when it comes to the beats, to where it has to be recorded, who does the graphic art, who does the videos, who I decide to reach out to venue wise to perform at, who I like to shop with, like clothing wise, like all of those all culminate into like just one entity. But I'm able to like use those talents in other areas. So like when it comes to videos, I'm able to use the knowledge that I gained from working with Terriers, and I'm able to like do my own videos and able to help people build their treatments or either source the great video directors that they work with or tell them that how it could be edited. Even with like event production, I feel like with events, I know a good amount of artists, I know a good amount of DJs, I know things that work. And even with like event productions, I have like a background in hospitality, so I know how people want to experience an event and how they need to be treated and how safety protocols need to go like that. So I think like reluctantly, like the past decade of like work that I've been doing, rather it be in the creative field or traditional employment, I've been like picking out like skills and like qualities that will ultimately help me with my dream career, which is doing music and having like my own agency where I'm able to help like artists and different like business entities as well.
Okay, okay. So, with your work with event management,
Mm-hmm.
how has that been able to shape like your perspective within the music industry, like the behind the scenes? How does that help you
Mm-hmm.
be an artist?
Um, so to answer that question, I feel like it really helped me gauge my expectations a little bit better. And what I mean by that is just like putting together a show and like really getting someone to like come out and see you and spend money to see you perform in an area. That's a feat of itself. And I feel like with event production, is helped me be a little bit more confident with like how I promote my music or how I showcase my arts and abilities to people, because like truth be told, like the Sunday service event that I throw at Blue Room Studios, that was a platform that was given to me reluctantly because there was like a poetry night that was going on like a month before, but the dude that hosted it didn't want to come back for another one. So we was like, yo, we gonna do an open mic event. And I was like, all right, I have history in open mics and I know how open mic should be ran. So like we did the first one, it was a good turnout, and we was like, all right, we gonna keep this train pushing. So we kept doing them sporadically, like every month or two or so, and then like we were able to like build a community there where people are able to like reach out and like they want to be on this stage, and like even with like the first year anniversary that's coming up in April, I feel as if I'm kind of using that in a sense to like help me like roll back out like the music stuff that I do, because like as soon as I announce that show officially, I'm gonna announce my merch. I'm gonna announce a single from my collaborative album, and funny enough, some of the performers from Sunday service are going to be on that album. So I was able to use that event to really inspire other projects that I have going on as well.
Okay, that's very dope. That's dope. So, with you just forming this lane for yourself with being a rapper, did you ever feel like you didn't really have a community, or do you feel like you've already always had like just people who supported you?
50-50. I feel like I didn't have a community like that, but I feel like I had to be the change that I wanted to see. Like, I do feel as if like I was always surrounded by talent, and talent was able to just gravitate to me. However, I feel like I didn't do the best. I wasn't the best at really bringing community together, because like for the most part I am like reserved and like not really shy, but I just do like to keep to myself for the most part. I don't really like groups like that. So with the lane that I built for myself, I really wanted to be like the champion of like the underdogs in the underground, because I do feel like we have a lot of undiscovered talent that's just overlooked, and it may be for just like superficial reasons, like they play count ain't where it should be, or they not as friendly as they need to be, or they just not overly supportive of everybody else. But that's where like I kind of step in, because I feel like I am the middleman between like people that don't want to do all the stuff that you need to do in order to be successful, and the folks that do, and like being like that perfect middle ground of like, all right, how do you find comfort in the Atlanta scene for the most part? Because I feel as if like a lot of people aren't really comfortable, and that's why I tend to see like a lot of complaints of people that like interact in the scene a lot, and it's like I have complaints too. However, I feel as if there's more dope stuff that needs to be exposed instead of like the bullshit that goes on.
Yeah, so not focusing on the negativity and like basically people hating on each other. Essentially.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I have my issues with people. However,
because people are complex, like we're all gonna have our own issues. You feel me?
Yeah, however, like I can have an issue with one person, but I can probably have a good standing relationship with like 50 other people. Like that one person ain't gonna stop the show, and it's like, what's the use of doing that? Like, just go ahead and like build your community and just rock with who rocks with you. And if they don't rock with you, all right, that's one less person, but you still got these other 49, 50 people that fuck with you.
So how do you deal with conflict basically, and people not liking you? Are those just people you just like kind of stay away from? Or do you still try to find a way to work with people who you really just don't get along with?
Truth be told, since I am a pretty calm guy, chill guy, I don't really have a lot of issues with people. I can say I probably have issues with no more than like 5 people.
That's a good number.
Yeah, that's a good number. And I've like interacted in this space for like years, like a decade plus, and like I've only had like a few situations with people, not a lot. And it's like, that goes back to what I was just saying, like it's a lot of people that you can work with out here, and it's like a lot of ways to like get a buck or really get like true support. Like one person isn't gonna really stop my motion, and it's like just focusing on like one person, it really does nothing for me, you know.
Okay, that's facts, that's true. All right, so managing artists requires a very unique skill set. And so my question to you would basically have to be, what have you learned from managing artists like directly, And how has that helped you shape your own like music, if that makes sense?
Um, Patience, emotion. Um, I kind of want to say like ego, but I feel like that may come with like how I gauge like their confidence. Because like I feel like with all the artists that I've managed, like even the current artists that I'm managing now, the first women artists that I've managed, they all have like a unique personality to them and like a way that like they view themselves in the world. And I feel as if with having so many different personalities, that's helped me be like bit more diverse in how I'm able to like approach people or just find myself in like these niche groups in Atlanta. Because like I've managed down there any type of artist that you can think of. Outside of a couple, like I've managed trap artists that was more so on like the player type shit. I've managed alternative rap artist that was very Pharrell inspired. I managed like another like trap artist that was like kind of alternative, but also still on like gritty type hood shit. And like I managed like another artist. He was Brazilian, but he made trap music. But now I'm managing a woman artist, but she makes I want to say like the sexy drill or like hyper pop inspired music, and even that has been like a new experience for me to learn. And like another thing that I've been paying attention to is that like with the artists that I've managed, one thing that I've had to do good with is like giving them like reassurance, because like they'll be like sewing their hair and like they'll second guess themselves to the point that like they'll be sitting on like some firework and like they'll end up like botching the release because of like they overthinking what should go into it, or they underselling it and thinking, oh, it's nothing. And it's like, no, things need to be presented to the world properly. And I feel like those are things that I really had to think about in respect to like my own career, like how I want my music to be presented to people, because like I feel as if I make pretty good music. However, I just don't do a good job of marketing it to people, because I feel as if I try to cast a wide net, even though it should probably shrink up a bit. And then like when it comes to just like me overthinking, like I'll get so into my head about something to the point where like I'll want like a project to be released on a particular day. However, the way that like I work is like I'll work on a project, but then like I'll listen to it like over and over again. Like before I release a project, I'll probably listen to like each song probably 100 times.
And then you'll talk yourself into not liking it sometimes.
Yeah, and then like I just won't be too sure as to like how like I should market it, and then like probably just self conscious on how to do like the visual content for it, and that's like another thing that like I peeped with like the artists that like I work with. Like funny enough, like the male artists that I work with are the ones that really doubt themselves or have an issue really grappling with like, should I have an ego today or should I be emo today? And it's such a roller coaster of emotions. And I'm talking about men here. Like the one artist that I manage right now ain't really gave me those problems yet. Like she just on go. Like anything like I tell her to do, like work wise, she do it. It ain't really like no questions. And like even then, like I have to like play like catch up to her in some instances, and like I like that because like you giving me like work to do, rather it be with like my man artists. I kind of have to like hold their hand a little bit more, and I do feel as if like even coming into like the resurgence of like my career again, like the second half of my career, because the way that I view my career is like the first half is like before I had the internships, and the second half is like after internships and the knowledge that I gained from those. So like I do make sure like I try to pass that knowledge around to the people that I work with, so like they can also what am I trying to say? Like I want to pass knowledge that I have to them, so they're able to apply it to what they have going on, and like in a sense, they can be like my test subject, so I can see like what definitely does work and what will work for me, so I can apply it for myself.
Okay. So you kind of just touched on this a little bit, but I would really like to go into when you experience your own feelings of self doubt.
Mm.
How do you stay grounded and stay focused?
I don't know if I have a definitive answer for that yet, only because like I still face moments of like self doubt now, and just not being eager to showcase my work to people. But I feel like in moments where I do face self doubt, I just try to go with God in that situation, and just like try to go with my good for the most part. And like, don't get me wrong, I'll get the results that I well, not the results that I want. However, I'll get the feedback that I want, not necessarily the results, and that kind of eases my self doubt moving forward in future endeavors. However, I do feel as if, since like there is a certain way that I do want to do things, I'm gonna always be just highly conscious of that. And like, if it is a meshing up to what I envision in my head, I'm going to doubt like the eventual outcome for myself.
So you basically a perfectionist.
Not a perfectionist, but because like I do feel as if there are certain situations where I'll just like go with my gut about something and not really think about the extra shit that's attached to it. Just put it out there just to get my thought across. Now, when I do that, do I turn my phone off and launch it across the room for an hour? Hell yeah. Because like I be scared, bro, and I feel
No,
like
for
people
real.
just have to be honest about like the fear that they have with being vulnerable to people, because that's what it is. Like if you creating something that's something personal to you, no one else is gonna have that same personal connection with it like you do. So you are going to be a little bit hesitant to show that with people.
Okay, I definitely understand that because it's like, all right, I came out with my own merch, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last Sunday. I walked out my house with $8 in a prayer
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, shoot, I don't have no job. I'm diabetic. I'm hungry. I gotta eat,
Yeah.
and I don't beg on the streets. Like, I'm sorry, I got too much pride, but I got these T-shirts.
Yeah.
I got this merch in my bag.
Mm-hmm.
I was so scared. I probably cried at the mall before I even opened my mouth. I cried at the mall. But I was like, Kennedy, you gotta stop crying. Like, this is getting real irritating.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to sell 2 shirts, and then the dude came for the podcast. He bought another one up off me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a lot of times you stopping yourself because you won't get out your own way.
Yeah, and like funny enough, it's crazy that you say something about merch, because like last year I did like the first I want to say like the first official release of like merch that I had, and like I wasn't really expecting to make that much money off of it. However, I was able to make a sizable amount off of it, and I was surprised with myself. Like even then, like with the merch that I have coming out for this upcoming season, I already got like merch sales from my brother, surprisingly. Like don't get me wrong, like yeah, that's family, but even then, like he supported it before I even put it out to the public. So that means that like I'm working with something. So like you said, like just gotta go out there on that faith and prayer.
No, literally. And like, I feel like what's so crazy about I don't know. Personally, I feel like people don't like me that much. Cool, because I got an attitude, and I'm gonna check you if I feel like you're trying me. So the people who were really buying my merch did not know me from a can of paint.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the craziest part. Sometimes it's not your folks who gonna support you. Sometimes you have that experience. It's not your folks who gonna support you. It's the people who don't know you. They don't know where you from. They don't know who you are, and they're meeting you for the first time. And so I feel like that's real love when a stranger who owes you nothing buys something from you. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. But that goes back to like an area of doubt. I feel as if like people be so scared to like show their art to people that they know, not knowing that there's people that don't know them from a can of paint that'll really fuck with the stuff that they got going on. However, they just be too fearful of like their immediate surroundings to think outside of that.
That's facts. That's facts. That's true. So, for anyone who's listening and trying to carve out a path of their own in this industry, what advice would you have to them about staying persistent with their goals and finding their own way?
You got to do research, but you have to actually do in-depth research into what you're doing. You just can't do like a quick Google search or Instagram search. You have to be very particular in who you're looking for and what you're looking for. Because me personally, when I was coming up, a thing that I would do is the independent artists that I followed in the area, I would follow them, and then I would look into their teams and see who they worked with, whether it be producers, engineers, or they graphic designers. I would see who all worked with them, and then I would kind of expand out of that because I would eventually find like a manager, or I would find a PR person, and then with those types of people, they throw a lot of events. They go to a lot of events and they promote a lot of events. So it's very easy to see these people in real life, have a conversation with them, and actually build with them. And then I will also say, be open-minded, because me personally, even when it came to like me being a manager, it wasn't something that I saw myself doing as heavy as I do now. However, it's something that I have seen to be beneficial for me because the skills kind of translate to other areas, and people just got to be like willing to do the work. That's something that like I have an issue with. I think that people are just scared to do the work, even though it's easy. Like, send a message, send an email, connect with that person. Actually go to that meeting that you plan on setting. Even now, like, excuse me, we live in a day and age where like a lot of this is like over the phone, and like I feel as if I've been like so successful in what I do, is because like I'm very eager to like connect with people or either like promote things that I find are dope. And I feel as if even by showing your support for people, it doesn't even have to be like a mutually beneficial thing, but I feel as if people see that you do have a particular taste, they are able to like trust your opinion on stuff and reach out to you for particular things.
Okay. So, let me see. I would like to ask you because I'm just filtering through. My bad. So having so many responsibilities must be a lot to manage. How do you ensure that you maintain a healthy balance between your professional life and your personal life?
I don't. I don't. One is go always suffer my opinion on because like I don't know, I feel as if when it comes to something that I'm passionate about, I do try to put like my all into it. Like when it comes to like me just working in entertainment, like there's a lot of things in my personal life that suffer in order for me to try to obtain the things that I want to. And like, do I have regrets? Yeah, but I feel like a lot of other people have regrets as well, and because it's a human trait. However, I do feel as if in the long run, I am going to be kind of comfortable on what I missed out on. In regards to achieving the life that I want. Even though like there are days where like I do feel as if like yo, like if I truly like balance my life how I needed it to go, I do feel as if like it would probably be like 90% work and then like 10% personal, only because like I do.
90% work and 10% personal is actually a crazy number. And
It
I would
is a
like you to know
crazy.
that.
It is a crazy number, but it's because like I like what I do. I have good relationships in what I do. Like a lot of the people that I do work with on a very close basis are friends of mine. So it isn't like I'm clocking in somewhere and
Right.
clocking out, because like I work around the clock for the most part. Like you can hit me up at either 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. or either shit like 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna respond to the message if it's like work related. Like probably have my laptop open and everything, ready to get something done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and basically, I feel like you're a serial entrepreneur at this point. And so, with doing that, do you feel like, how do you even tell yourself, all right, it's time to take a break without having like that clock in, clock out system and somebody managing you?
The only ways I'm able to clock out if it's school, my significant other, or my family. Even then, like I feel like my significant other and family, they definitely do understand how crazy I am when it comes to like music and entertainment and just like all that I do. So they do understand that like I am going to put most of like my resources into pursuing my goals. Even if it is going to be like a hindrance to me, they know that there is going to be some progress made. However, there have been tough conversations that I've had to have with both of them because of how much I do prioritize work and how that may even affect them negatively, and I have to take heed to that. And I do feel as if like the older that I get, I am getting better at trying to balance time and have just time for myself and really acknowledging that I have to rest and really have to treat my body good, because that's another part of it. Like yeah, I can do all this work and I can extend myself in these areas. However, at the end of the day, I'm tired as hell. And then like there are certain moments where like I'll burn out and then like I'll get like stress colds and shit like that. And like there are moments where I do need to just like slow down and like unplug. But I feel as if with age, that's really been teaching me that like, yo, I do need to like balance professional and life better, because like both of those are going to affect one another, whether you want to admit it or not. And I would rather they affect each other positively than negatively.
Okay, okay, that's dope. That's dope.
Mhm.
So, before we close out this interview,
Mhm.
I was wondering, would you like to freestyle for us? Like, just give us a little taste of something, you know.
I was about to say I could either freestyle or I can do you one better and give you a leak from the music that I'm working
All
on,
right, go
and you
ahead
can
and give
drop
us
it
a
at the
link.
end of the episode. So yeah, I got a song. It's called Friendly Fire. It's off my upcoming project with my producer Zoinks, and yeah, it's gonna be playing right here. Doo-doo-doo. I'm gonna send that over to you.
All right. So, would you like to plug yourself? How can we support you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Big Nose Kurt. That's Kurt with a C, not a K. Twitter, Tez GVNE. You can also search me on any music platform under Tez Pariah. And also you can catch me at the Blue Room Studios ATL. Down there every weekend. You know, we have good events that you should come to. So yeah, that's how you can support me.
Okay. Thank you so much for the conversation. And thank you all for listening. You can support the podcast on Instagram at _Weak Daze, WEAKDAZE. And just look out. Keep listening, keep following, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. I like that.